The second piece by R.C. Sayler is this one. It's called Dad's Hide and Seek Decoy. It was made in 2011, and it just consists of a very ordinary kitchen cabinet with a mannequin inside. And the mannequin is made to represent or made to look like R.C. Sayler. So again, he is sort of putting himself or his own body into his artwork, showing how there are actually a lot of spaces in our everyday environments that can be inhabited that we don't think about inhabiting them in that way, like making a nest inside underneath the countertop in the kitchen. And then the other aspect is R.C. has two sons who I think are 5 and 8 years old, and a lot of his art is either starts as a collaboration with his sons or is somehow trying to think about things the way that they think about things, with fresh eyes, seeing everything for the first time. So this is his decoy for when he's playing hide and seek with them, so that he can't be found. This is a piece by Carlie Trosclair, New Orleans, Louisiana-based artist who now lives in St. Louis, who recently completed her MFA at Washington University in St. Louis. And I wanted to show this right after R.C. Sayler's piece because I think they deal with a lot of the same subject matter, but in very different ways. What they're trying to do is illuminate for the viewer how certain spaces can be easily overlooked, and how can we think of ways to bring the viewer into the space. And whereas R.C. does it in this very ordinary, everyday way by using a kitchen cabinet, Carlie does it in this highly theatrical way, using these swags of cloth, gilded frames, very dynamic diagonal lines throughout, and in general, just a very sort of luscious, almost nest-like quality. What she's doing is she was thinking about how we're always walking through these spaces that are built for us, they're made by us, they're made for us, they're specifically tailored to our needs, to our functions, and yet we get so used to them that we start to ignore them. And so she wanted to think of some way to bring the architecture closer to the viewer and bring the viewer closer to the architecture. And so what she's done is she's taken this corner, which is at a 90-degree angle, and she's softened the edge of that corner by filling it with cloth. And so you're no longer aware of this hard edge at the corner. You're more aware of this swooping curvilinear geometry that takes you around from one wall to the next. And she's also imbuing the architecture with this almost skin tone color cloth. If you think of a series of different skin tones, she's representing them with these swags of cloth here. And so that's another way of sort of bringing the viewer just a little bit closer to the architecture. Conversely, she brings the architecture closer to the viewer. Architecture is generally made out of these rectangles with 90-degree corners, and so are frames. And the frames start from the back of the space and they come forward to meet the viewer. And instead of being a rectangle that's the size of a wall or the size of a floor, something that's very difficult to for the viewer or the inhabitant to relate to in terms of scale, she brings us these smaller scale things that might relate to the scale of your hand or your head or your torso. And so she's making more of a direct relationship between the human body and the spaces that we occupy.